So we're back for episode 19 of the End Product Podcast, and Stish, I've had an absolute mare of a week. It did start off pretty good, obviously, last weekend. I was at the Glasgow Derby, and then I had Champions League with Celtic and Real, so everything started off all being good, but then following a kind of stinking hangover or two in the Sorare TV Studios, where you find me, all my broadband's been severed, I've been cut off from web3, I've been cut off from Sorare HQ, and it's just been an absolute mare. Coupled in with that, obviously all this deadline drama we've had. Me and you are recording on Friday, a wee bit later than usual, and yeah, I fucked it. I got greedy and I've tried to put all my Celtic players in and buff my teams up a bit at the last minute when it looked like there might have been a chance, and obviously I'm sitting here burned. Nightmare, man.
Oh, I feel for you, man. I feel for you. I saw the tweets go out this morning. I think we were sort of joking about who else was DJing enough to risk this SPFL, Premier League and Championship fixtures, and there you were. I couldn't believe it. I felt like I never had the minerals to do that myself. I was planning it through last night, just expecting things to be cancelled. But I think, we were given a little glimmer of hope, weren't we, around 10 a.m. that the government and the sort of royal family had basically said it's up to all of the sort of sporting bodies to decide what they want to do with their weekends fixtures. And I kind of see your point to it, that the Premier League and SPFL, they're not known to dodge a pound note, are they? An opportunity to earn some money. And I think that that was kind of the hope you were clasping onto, just on the chance that they just put the fixtures ahead anyway. But gutted for
$3
you.
prevails in these situations.
This weekend will be slightly dampened. It's true, yeah. I mean, if you'd have pulled it off, I bet a lot of people didn't risk. So if it had have gone your way, I think you would have been in a massively favourable position. Sometimes you got to take the risks, and unfortunately, it didn't pay off this time. But you got some underdog and specialists to look forward to, I'm sure.
Yeah, so basically all my limiteds are fine and all my underdogs are fine, and then I've got Champion America Rare Pro, and I've got the crappiest because I was remaking all my teams right at the deadline when this little shred of hope came in that it might go ahead. And the very last team I made was under 23 Rare Pro, and honestly, it's just crap fixtures upon crap fixtures and might not play people. But it's every other team has in it, like Jens, has Jota, has Robbo, has Tyler Adams, has Trippier, has somebody in it that just absolutely screws it over, except for the underdogs. So I'm swimming. I'm swimming with the minnows this game week. I'm swimming with just the limiteds and underdogs. No rare goalkeepers, basically, for me. This game week, so it should be a quiet one. No end product is expected this game week for me, unfortunately.
No, I think my midweek was pretty quiet. I think a lot of my teams, I had a fair few teams out for the midweek just gone, and no end product for me in the midweek, but had a few wins last weekend. Picked up a Strahinja Pavlovic rare, which I keep winning Salzburg rares, so I'm ending up with now. I think I've got 7 Salzburg players. I think Sole looks like he's injured as well, so yeah, fingers crossed. I think if I can win a Omar Sole or a Philip Cohn, I'll be absolutely laughing. I'll start rolling me into SO11 with the full Salzburg stack if it keeps on like this. But I managed to pick up 4 cards in the end, so I was pretty happy with that. I think I tweeted at the beginning of last weekend that I think it was Saturday. I was you can already tell that you're not going to be in amongst any of it come the end of the week, and then going into those final few fixtures on Monday, I was actually, I think I had 2 games on Monday left. I had Etienne Green to play for my U23, and if he started, I was pretty much guaranteed a tier 2. And I thought tier 2 looked all right. If he kept a clean sheet, would have been a tier 1. So then what happened in that game? Classic Etienne Green, as we've seen so far this season. He got the clean sheet, and then a minute later, I got sent off. So he just undone all his good work. To be fair, he had a really quiet game up until that point. I was watching it, and Yeah,
So what happened
another
then was
one. It
that,
was
you know,
awful as well. It was such a bad.
so he got the decisive for the
So he
clean
got the
sheet
clean
and then
sheet,
got the negative decisive red card. That's quality.
and then he lost. Yeah, so he essentially just like wiped all his good work. So yeah, he kind of got a decisive and then lost one in the space of a minute. And it
That's
was a really
funny, man.
clumsy challenge on the edge of the box, sort of coming out to do. If he'd have pulled it off, would have been a really nice little bit of sweeper keeper as well. So
Woofed.
he almost like pushed me
Jacked
into the
himself up.
tier ones in that moment. But he ended up, yeah,
He
it was
gambled.
such a bad, poor. I think to be honest with you, yeah, he gambled. He gambled wrong. You know, he just came back from suspension as well, so he's had 2 red cards in his last 5 games. Um, and
Crazy.
from watching him and from sort of reading the like reactions from the Saint Etienne fans and stuff on Twitter, I would be surprised if he sort of like finds himself back in that number one spot off the back of this suspension. He might have to earn his way back into the side because I don't think the manager was best pleased with him either after the game.
Aye,
Apparently, his
two
press
reds is
conference,
mental
he
for a
was
goalkeeper.
not that supportive. Yeah, and like I said, this one was definitely avoidable. I don't think he even really needed to be coming out of his box for the ball. I think there were defenders around. It wasn't completely necessary, and he hesitated, and it just meant that that moment of hesitation, it was just such a clumsy tackle, needless sending off, and by all accounts, the rest of his teammates were pretty upset with him at full time. They did manage to scrape a draw, but they're right down there. They're not doing particularly well, and every point counts. I think they were ahead when he got sent off. So yeah, it was clumsy. So I'm not expecting to get too much utility out of him this season. Now I'm almost sort of like, I'm almost back where
I
we
think
were
I'm going
before
again.
they started covering D2.
Last weekend, I had somebody kind of do the same. Obviously, I was at the Glasgow Derby, and Kyogo went off after 4 minutes injured or something. And I thought there's no chance I'm going to be pulling a card out of this. But
Oh
that team
yeah,
still managed to finish like 40th in All Star Rare Pro just by the skin of its teeth. And I say skin of its teeth, 40th is a great finish. And I got a tier one Dane St. Clair rare goalkeeper. So I got a couple of limiteds as well. So I just about got a wee bit of end product at the weekend there. The midweek was just painful on the field for me. Going to the Real Madrid game was a nice like event and stuff, and it was great seeing some of these guys. Like I think this is the first time I've actually spoke since I've been at the match. But like, see, of all the players I've seen in front of me play football, like see the way Vinicius Junior dribbles. Like honestly, I've seen Ronaldinho, I've seen peak Messi, I've seen all the fucking baddies over the last 20 years, and the way that guy dribbles, man, is
mm.
insane. Like I've never seen anything like it it doesn't look real. Like it's as if, and I know it's a real cliche, but it literally looks like the ball is attached to the very tip of his toe, and he's like ice skating at the same time. And it's like nobody can catch him. He's super quick. Never gave the ball away against Celtic. Never lost a duel. I've not actually looked at his stats, but I fucking didn't see him do anything wrong all game. And he was fantastic to watch. And I was kind of interested going into this match because also I can only say it the way I can say it. I managed to see like peak Iniesta and Xavi like twice, and I've seen like peak AC Milan midfield like Gattuso, Seedorf, Pirlo, whatever, and seeing Kroos and Modric.
Mm.
See what really kind of caught me about seeing them two. See Iniesta, see the thing, Iniesta and Xavi. See the thing that really made an impression on me when I seen them is they were always like within 10 yards of each other, and they would go all over the pitch, like passing the ball between each other and like the rest of the team, and like
Yeah,
getting the ball from defense to attack in essence. Kroos and Modric don't do it. Like obviously you see this stuff in the telly, but see when you're obviously at the stadium, it's a wee bit different. And like Kroos and Modric kind of do that, but they'll do that over 30 yards. Like the
yeah,
two of them are like, they're almost like chess pieces, and they
yeah,
just put themselves in parts of the pitch, and they know that as soon as one of them gets the ball, they know exactly where the other one is, and they can just drop it on them. And then from there, you've got like Valverde running off, and
yeah,
we all know how Real Madrid play. But it was amazing seeing like two guys being nowhere near each other and having people between them almost
yeah,
always. Tchouameni's obviously the wee anchor in the middle, when they've got a bit of things going. But that was like a lot of fun to watch for me. I had a great time with that. So yeah, I just kind of realised this is, I think, the first bit of
yeah.
content I've did since the match itself, just because I've lost internet and Sorare Studios has been the lights have been out. No one's been
Yeah, it
home.
was. I
It's
watched the
not been
first half
operational.
actually.
Do you enjoy it?
I watched the first half, and I did. I thought they did really well. I think I was watching. I thought that they
McGregor.
were kind of like set up to play a really good counter attack, and they were super, super. Yeah, McGregor was really unfortunate, and yeah, I just thought that they were set up really well. I think Postecoglou made a really good case for himself, and the way he set them up was good. And I think that they'll get results in Europe. Real Madrid are
Real Madrid
Champions
man.
League heroes and know how to perform. But I just think, yeah, like if they can perform like that and be as up for it. I mean, it sounded like the stadium was absolutely rocking as well. I think,
That was
I don't
class.
think any team wants to go there and play against Celtic. So if Celtic can get up for it, I think Ange set him up really well, and he's got good options. I thought I was really impressed with like Giacomakis in the first half. Actually, like obviously, he's got his card, so I kept an eye on him, and yeah, it was really infused by his
He,
performance and his willingness to get back and defend on the edge of his box. It was good to see.
he was great. He was
I
great for the
think
first
be
half an hour. He
interesting to
absolutely
see how
bullied that
much game time he
Militao.
gets.
He absolutely bullied
Yeah,
that Militao. He gets subbed off at
definitely did.
halftime
It
and
was
just
good
got
to
on
see.
Rudiger, and Rudiger had his number.
That's the thing with Real Madrid, isn't it? Is they've got the aces up their sleeve. They can just take someone as good as Militao off and bring on another world class player like Rudiger. Um,
Yeah.
you know, perfect for. Be interesting to see. I think off the back of this weekend, I was saying to someone coming off the back of like a European fixtures as well from my SO5 perspective. This is for me the hardest weekend to choose your teams for every year. Seeing if the manager is going to rotate, looking and seeing who those players are, and I think with Real Madrid, we've always been looking at that midfield, especially now they've got Camavinga there and they've let go of Casemiro. It's been really interesting to see how they set up the next game with Kroos, Modric, Chouameni, Camavinga. They've got really good options there, but who's going to get rotated? We almost forget how old
See, one
Modric
thing about
actually is
Real
because he doesn't
Madrid.
play like a 36, 37-year-old.
Oh, sorry, this delay's a nightmare, man.
That's right.
That's all right. The one thing about Real Madrid, right, is I'm pretty confident Kroos is retired from international football at this point. And I don't know if Tchouameni and
Yep.
Camavinga, will they both get in the France squad? I'm not sure. Casemiro's also not the problem anymore. He's moved on. So and if Modric is going to the World Cup, I suspect he probably is. Like Croatia probably, might not get as far as the final or whatever. Again, it's unlikely, you'd say. So the World Cup might not actually be too bad on them. So they might just go right into it, just go full steam ahead, play the best team they can, and then Chris will be by the pool for 2 months anyway. And those other two guys are pretty young and fit, and they'll be able to keep going, I'm sure. So they may not be too badly affected, all told.
It's good point, actually. Never really thought about it like that. And also, we've got another international break coming up in a couple of weeks as well, haven't we? So Cruz is going to get another rest. So why would you necessarily worry too much about rotating him now? He's probably only got another two
Yeah.
or three fixtures before he has like a couple of weeks off. So yeah, forget about that. But be
Cruz
interesting
and
to see. I
Modric
think
played 90 minutes
for me,
against
like
Celtic,
my
which I found
gallery,
interesting.
yeah, that surprised me. I mean, I know Cruz was rested the weekend before the game, so it'd be interesting to see if he's used in between fixtures. Because I think his experience is really, really valuable in the
Huge.
Champions League. He's won it so many times. Yeah, he knows exactly what he's doing in the middle of that field there, doesn't he?
I'm actually, because of all this tomfoolery with the deadline and the Queen and all this caper, I'm already thinking ahead to the next midweek. Celtic will be fully rested, so maybe that's going to be to my advantage come the midweek or whatever. Is Friday too early to look at next midweek? I don't know. What do you think, Stish?
I mean, it feels early, but I completely get it, and I think naturally, especially for yourself with like all the great Celtic cards you got plenty of time to look at and keep up to date with like what's going on in training. You can really like use this sort of weekend off to really hone in on your options in Challenger or All Star. I think I always sort of have a little look at what I've got available. I do have quite a few options for midweek next week. But the main problem I've got is I think I've only got 4 goalkeeper options that are likely to play, and one of them's a super. So my main issue between now and the midweek is going to be uh, which of those cards I use where. And I think obviously having a super rare goalkeeper is usually gives me an option of going into like the super rare division. But I think at the moment I'm tending to avoid those super rare divisions in the midweek to sort of just put out like an all star lineup. Because the super option I've got is Carlos Acevedo, so my options there are all star or America, and I am extremely weak in America in the midfield. So America Pro is not really an option for me. Neither is Rare for that matter. Most of my American cards tend to get used in All Star or like the sort of weeklies. So yeah, I think I've just got to try and figure out between now and then whether I go All Star or whether I look at the weeklies for a potential entry there. But yeah, my midweek. I've got some really good U23 challenger options in midweek. Problem is I don't have a goalkeeper for possibly for this next midweek. Sometimes I can use Muric, and obviously got Van der Voort, but they don't often play midweek. So yeah, I'm a little bit
I think
lost in
Burnley
that
are in
sort of
next midweek.
U23 pocket. I did have like Maduka Okoye, who are they? I'll have to. I know I did have a U23. I thought it might have been Tanny, but maybe it is Muric. And to be honest with you, he's been injured twice in the last 2 games. He's come off injured, nothing too serious, but it might do him a favour not having a fixture this weekend. If he has got a fixture in the week, he might actually be quite
Yeah.
useful because he's looked really good for Burnley in the last 2 games. He just hasn't been able to finish the full 90. But by all accounts, it's nothing serious, and it wasn't a recurrence of the previous injury. It was something completely different, another knock, which they don't think will keep him out. But he is a good option for U23 if he's got a fixture. That's good. So maybe you're right. Maybe it is Muric, and hopefully you know the situation in the UK right now doesn't prolong into the midweek. Otherwise, there'll be a lot of angry so rare managers, including yourself, no doubt.
Oh, don't even start. The body better not be. I don't think Champions League will get interfered with, to be quite honest. So yeah, I'm hoping we don't ever need to worry about that as a topic for next week or anything. Because yeah, surely, man, the Champions League will just charge on regardless. But I've actually been doing a little bit of trading and stuff recently, Stish. I've actually brought a few new players into my club over the last I don't know, week or two. So as I've been bemoaning, I've had a real problem in my club with like rare midfield. So for last week's pod I just brought in a Limer, Conrad Limer. I'd got him on an auction, and then a few days ago I picked up Santi Rodriguez of NYC. So I've brought him in as a rare mid. He's kind of U23 and Champ America, so he kind of covers a wee bit maybe of what Limer doesn't. And then I picked up somebody else. It was none other than Ryan Gold, the Scottish Messi. And it was just pure chance. I was kind of looking at him because his price, like, I've kind of been waiting for him to come down. Like, I was kind of seeing Gold as like, I had Zela Ryan in my club. I had one of 100 first ever Zela Ryan. So I had that hanging in my club for 2 years. And that was a big part of my America kind of cohort. And when I sold him, I was like, Ryan Gold is like the guy that I will probably fill, that midfielder that can break 80s, kind of vibe. And he was kind of priced quite well for quite a while, but he's kind of coming down. And anyway, the auction that was on last night or the night before, it was number 25, which is the shirt number. I was thinking, this is like pretty much the cheapest he's been. And if I can also snipe up a wee, jersey number auction for the Ryan Gold, the Scottish Messi, then that could be good fun. And I won it. So that's me. I've got 3 new rare mids into the club over the last 10 days or something. And that's part of the reason I got greedy. Because I was like, I've got so many good pieces, man. Let's just get them all out, and put this mid with him. And then but then as well, right before even any of this
Yeah.
stuff with the deadline happened, Ryan Gold is on 5 yellows. So I realised that last night when I was double checking stuff after I put up beside all my UK players. I was like, I can't even fucking use him. He's got 5 yellows.
That's so frustrating. It's not been your week. I've been looking at dipping back into the market. I think I need to strengthen in a few different locations on my my roster. I've noticed, like I said just there, that there is a massive gap in my like American midfield. I think a lot of the players that I did have in that sort of position moved out of the MLS into sort of like the South American divisions and just haven't really clicked.
Yeah.
The one that sticks out like a sore thumb is Eduard Atuesta, who moved to Palmeiras, and it's just really kind of
Oh,
like blown my American options out of the water. Also lost like
he was phenomenal.
Lautaro Giannetti, who I've got a super rare of in defence. Yeah, and it just meant that like my entry there was a bit weak unless I took like Ferreira out of U23 and moved him in there, and obviously I use him for U23. So I just haven't really been entering the American division very much at all. But I did actually enter Asia this weekend because I noticed that Osmar came back for Saul last week, came in off the bench.
Nice.
So I think the main reason I haven't really been looking at those pro is because I've got two Osmar super rares, and not being able to use him has kind of like closed off that the sort of pro division for me in Asia, because my midfield options again are a bit weak or are like the kind of rotation or just maybe a bit shy of a decisive. And it's nice to have those. If you're going to enter one of the regions, you want a few of the big hitters, and I think Osmar is definitely one of
Yeah.
those. I managed to win another Asia forward this week, a U23 one as well. So that was good. I think
Cool.
like I've got some options there now. Cecilia looks like he's coming back in from injury, and I think when Cecilia's firing on all cylinders, you can look at that as a valid option. But I think where I lost Lehan Bomb as well, that's kind of closed off the D2 for me, and
Yeah.
yeah, it meant that I didn't really look at it that much. But I think this is a great time to pick up America and Asia cards, because a lot of people are looking at Europe now. They're all open and the excitement's there, and people are starting to get an idea of who starts where, and some of the new players have bedded into clubs, and that some of that risk has sort of gone. So everyone's piling into Europe, and then like you said the other week, that Joseph Martinez's price is absolutely obscene. Like how low
Yeah.
it's
It was
come,
ridiculous.
and I think this is a great time if you do have like a potential squad for America. It's like this is the time to pick those cards up. So I've been sort of looking. I haven't made any purchases yet, but I've got some ideas of some players that I might pick up between now and the end of the season when their prices really start to drop. Um, so yeah, I think Asia and MLS, there's some crazy value there right now, and I think it'll get. I think some of the prices will come lower as well. So keeping an eye on things there, definitely.
Yeah, when you've got guys that can get into the region of like 70 and beyond, pricing in under a quarter of a coin, that's kind of normally when, I'll kind of get interested in some of these guys, like I remember when Limited first came out, I went and bought like a full Seattle Sounders team for like 0.15 or something, just because like they were limited, they were going super, even at that time, that was like pennies, like it wasn't very much for anything. And like because in MLS, like or in any of these leagues, when it does like get depressed in that sense because there's something else new and shiny happening, you know, these things will have their day in the sun again. And like the ones I like buying is like Santi Rodriguez is somebody who I would have bought. I would have paid like ETH and a half for him the day he came out, you know, gladly.
Mm.
But I didn't have an ETH and a half for him the day he came out. And I kind of knew that. And I was like, I'll just buy my time and I'll just wait until I can afford one. I don't know how much that means, but one day I'll want one. I'll have the right amount of money for one and I'll buy them, but it's not today kind of thing. And then, when am I picking them up? September, so how long am I waiting to get that? 5 months? When did they come out? April, May or something? 4 months maybe. So if
Yeah.
it's a great time for those guys that you maybe, I wish I had more for him. If those guys that you've missed out on that you think, if you could wind back
Mm.
time and put the money in your pocket, you would have bought him. Now, like if you look at him today and you're like, oh Jesus, Joseph Martinez is only 0.2. I think he was going for a point, yeah, something like that. Santi Rodriguez under 23. Under 23s are still
Yeah.
expensive. They always
It's
will be.
mad.
But it's the general league players like Johnny Russell's and the golds. Like Johnny Russell is 0.12, and gold 0.2. Well, gold's like 26, 28-year-old like midfielder who's not going to be, I don't imagine, leaving MLS anytime soon. Same with Russell. He's a bit older, about 33 or something. But that's crazy prices for what you can get out of them. An all-star
Yeah.
specialist, never mind Champ America.
It's true. It's true, and I think I've got a few cards like that myself. But like you mentioned there, like Rodriguez, he's definitely one that I've been looking at, and the fact that his price is coming to where it is, and I think also from experience, I made the mistake of selling quite a few of my top MLS cards around this time last year, thinking I was being smart, selling them before their price really hits bottom. But actually, it was around this
Mm.
time that they did hit the bottom. Once the season finished, within about 2 weeks, people started buying them, thinking that that was the time to buy. But actually, with hindsight, it was around now when people started selling, thinking they were being smart. But actually, the smart time to sell is about 2 weeks into the season. If you're a trader and you're trying to make profit on cards, you want to be buying the MLS and Asia cards now and selling them about a week before the season starts. That I mean, you can look at it with any of my cards across the European divisions and what I was getting offered for them, like the week before the season started and stuff like that. Before the certainty of the league comes in and we know the selection, but also when the new mints come out and cards start losing their their XP and all that. And I think this is like it when you talk to people about, oh, is this a good time to get into Sorare? It's like there's different ways to play this game. If you want to come in now, I would definitely say if you want to like get your ETH balance up, ready to buy or something like that, then yeah, like buying and selling sort of Asia MLS cards around this time, but having the patience to sit on them till like maybe January, you'll make a lot of profit. I think if you buy the right cards. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think anyone who's got a bit of a buzz around them, anyone who gets a decent transfer. I think that's the main thing with Asia, isn't it? There is a lot of random transfers that go on in Asia. Like I had obviously like Daiki Matsuoka, who was like a nailed on starter at Seigan Tosu, 19-year-old defensive midfielder, and he moved to like Shimizu S-Pulse out of nowhere, and I didn't even see or hear anything of it. One day he's just playing for another team, and I just noticed it when I was doing my selections, and you'll notice that as well. And I think that maybe people are a little bit more wide wide up to all of the sort of platforms and outlets that give you the information on these transfers now. So literally every player, I think I was looking at a couple in the week that made transfers in the Russian Premier League, and I thought, oh, let me just have a little look and see what they're on for. See if I can pick up a bargain.
Yeah.
It's like a minute ago it's been announced that they've been linked, and the market's already there. People have already listed their card at like 5x what it should be listed for.
Market
But if
moves
you can
quick,
get on
man.
the right side of those, or you can find a new source, yeah, it's so crazy. But it just goes to show, like, and I've made some bad purchases myself. Like I think we talked about that one, the Fenerbahce sort of backup goalkeeper who played in the cup
Oh
because
yeah.
Bayendir was injured, and I picked him up and then thought straight away, I picked him up to sell him and realized very quickly if I didn't sell him in the next 5 minutes, I wasn't going to make that money back anytime soon because as soon as Bay India's back from injury, his price is going to go down by half. And that's exactly what's happened. So
Yeah.
I'm just stuck. But it's not too bad when it's a young goalkeeper as well. That's another thing is that you do pay extra for those U23, but a goalkeeper with the promise that Bay India has as well. Like if he gets a move or if he does get injured, then this young goalkeeper's 19 years old, is their next goalkeeper in
Playing
line. So
themselves
if he
back.
gets a move,
Yeah,
which is an international goalkeeper, could definitely happen. Then
for sure.
yeah, so I think I was fortunate that I had a bit of ETH there. I didn't need that money back straight away. I just got to sit and hope now. But they're the nice ones as well. I did sell a few. I've sold a few cards lately, and even looking back at those, I think I sold a few of my sort of like more like top end cards that I never thought I'd have made a profit on, and actually ended up did even in ETH terms. So sometimes the patience will like that play can pay off for you. You just got to have it, so long as you don't need like all of that ETH back straight away. If you can have a bit of ETH on the side to sort of like just put a few sort of like mid to long term trades in, this is a time to do those. I think Asia and America, put some of those midterms in. 6 months from now, you might double your money if you can wait. So long as if Ethereum doesn't go absolutely ballistic, that's another thing
Yeah.
that is always hard to judge, isn't it?
is what currency are we talking about when we say these things? Because it could totally change. And
It's
if
true,
I
yeah.
if in 6 months from now Ethereum is 100 grand, then you're not going to double your ETH on anything. Like,
It's true, very true.
so yeah, it's one of those ones. But it's similar to something you said earlier, losing your Lehigh bomb. Unique. I've been in this situation with my Dennis Suarez unique, and I suspect there'll be plenty of people who listen to this who might find themselves in a similar situation, perhaps with like a super rare card or a rare, maybe even a prize like a big hit and limited. But like my unique has been shelved because he's fell out with the club or he's fell out with the owner, and your guys also had a bit of an injury. My underdog teams have basically we were kind of saying this earlier, but like my underdog teams have basically became what was my champ Euro contingent for the Super Rare division that I played at the back end of last season. And even though that's the only kind of teams I've got running this week, the Super Rare one I'm actually kind of still excited to watch. I've got big kind of big team, big players for my club. I've got like Maffeo in defence, who I've had for a while, been waiting for it to come good. Nemeka, who scored 85 last week after me dropping him, get 2 goals. He's away to Frankfurt, who get beat 3-0 midweek, so that could be decent. And then I've got Lorente, and then I've got Enes Unal, who's playing against Real Sociedad. Stish, if you caught the game last night, I don't know. Brais Mendes scoring the penalty.
Oh,
Loving life. The hero,
yeah, I
Brais.
did catch it, unfortunately, and it just
Definitely a
it's going
penalty,
to take the
wasn't it?
wind out of the United sail a little bit, that result. But are you kidding? Uh, controversial is not the word, is it? Really, but yeah, I mean, classic. In a way, if we're going to lose to a penalty, you want it to be like that, and just be like, well, on to the next one, take it on the chin.
Yeah.
Shit result, but we've got plenty of games to turn it around. And to be honest with you, like I don't know, like some United fans might really want to win that tournament. I'm not too bothered about it. I'm more concerned with like our league performance. I just want to see us have a good league performance and make sure that we're performing in the Prem against like the top clubs. But we put out a side to win that game, so that is a disappointing result still. But like I said, we got another five games before we get into the business end of that tournament. So I'm not too concerned. I'm pretty sure we've got the minerals to get out of the group still.
Yeah, fair enough. Looking forward to seeing a bit more Brais Mendes action. That should be good fun in the Europa League. I was absolutely buzzing that it was him that scored, because I've got his super rare. I've had that since last year. I got it back in the Kyogo trade, but I just got him back into the club and then he scores against Man United. You couldn't write it.
Good timing. A good little storyline for your gallery.
We're linked, where that NFT holds real world power for that for that footballer.
Is it
He
like?
plays
Do
his
you ever
best
think
football when I
about
own
like
it.
what? I mean, you. I was going to say you met Maxi Gomez, didn't you? And you held his card and you mentioned it to him when
Yeah.
you met him like at the end of the game. Is there like? Do you think that there is this sort of like? This is footballers. I wonder how many footballers have had this where someone comes up to them now and is like, "I've got you on so rare. I own you." Like, and maybe like there's some kind of air of expectance that like you need to sign my shirt now, or like now we have to go for a beer. Like I own you,
Aye.
sort of.
He
Because
definitely didn't
I
have a
like
clue what I was talking about.
I'm waiting for the day that like no. I'm definitely waiting for the day that like I get into like the Red Cafe because I've got Anthony's rare card or something at Old Trafford. But I might be
That'd
waiting a
be
long
ace,
time.
man. Aye. Unique holders only, Stish. Need to get Dylan Levitt back into the senior team.
Yeah. Yes,
Get
mate.
the Lee
Yeah.
Hang
I'll be
bomb
meeting
signed.
Tony in the bar after. Yeah. Yeah. I've been talking to a friend of mine in sort of like music world about potential South Korea tour. And I've said to him, like, if we get out there, 100% we're going to watch FC Seoul. And I want to get down there nice and early and like try and mill about the ground and see if we can meet Osmar for a coffee or something. He's quite responsive on Twitter, so I might just hound him and bother him for a
Go
week
have some
leading up to
paella.
the gig or something. See if we can. Yeah,
Oh, I
exactly.
definitely will.
He
I'll be
speaks
right up
he
for that.
speaks loads of languages. That guy, isn't he? Yeah. Let's try and get him out. Osmar, if you're listening, mate, coming for you.
That's it. On that kind of note of the player stuff, as you were kind of asking that or kind of setting that kind of scenario for us, I realised that I've got a super rare goalkeeper, Emiliano Viviano. He is on Sorare. I found him. I don't know why. I was just like clicking about and stuff, and I was like, oh, he actually plays. And the reason I found him is he owns the Maxi Morales player card. The NY, the guy who plays for New York City, Maxi Morales. Emiliano Viviano. I think he must have played with him
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Italy at some point. Actually played in Italy for a wee while. But I've been eyeing that card up since it came out. And then when I went to look at it, the account it had one of the little green ticks like it was a player. I was like, who the hell is this? And then it took a while for me to work it out. And then I found him. And then I
yeah.
went on Twitter, his DMs were open. Doesn't follow me or anything, but I follow him. I sent him a wee message. I was like, all right, mate, fancy doing a deal on your Maxi Morales? And he's just patched me. So if I ever went to Turkey for a match and I see them, I'd be like, I'd be showing him the Maxi card. I'd be like, how you? Talk to me. That'd be
Yeah,
funny. See his reaction. Because then
yeah,
he's knows, because he knows what you're showing him, You'd be like,
yeah.
oh, fuck,
It is mad, isn't it? I think it's one of the like underrated like joys of being on So Rare is like getting an offer from an actual player. So I sold a card to Davy Klassen, and I got an offer from Dante Vanzia as well, which I actually turned down. But it's always fun when you see them popping up because they're like one thing that like they're footballers, maybe like involved in the idea of like coming into the game, and obviously we see with Tony like how enthusiastic he is about the game and loves it. But it's just amazing like how many footballers do actually play it, and I wonder how much chat goes on. Did you see that video of when Ajax won the league last season, and
yeah.
Kenneth Taylor's in the changing room? They give him the microphone to like interview the players, and he's like, "How's your So Rare team doing?" I
Yeah.
love that. That's like
That's,
it makes you feel like you're part of the gang.
yeah.
We're all in this
And it
together.
really changed
But
my banter. We know what they're on about.
yeah, especially buzzing when exactly, yeah, that's it. But I'm sure like most of Tony's banter is trying to get all the lads signed up at Dundee
Get the player
United. I'm
cards.
sure he's like
Well,
giving it the hard
I
sell.
think that's what
That's
this
it. Get the
Viviano
player
done. I
cards
think
in.
Viviano's phoned Maxi Morales and went, Maxi, sign up and then send me your card. Because that's kind of the way, like, if you look at that Viviano, he's done the same thing. Just spoke to his pal and got a card. That's why I'm like, come on, Viviano, sell him to me. I actually, I'm a fan. I'll give
Yeah,
So
I
it's
wasn't
definitely
sure
one of
how
those
it
things. Players
how
love
like
it.
the mechanics of it worked until we got speaking to Tony. I didn't really know what the sort of mechanic of like getting those cards, like the signed version or the player version was. Uh, I've I've known Neda Manua for a few years, and when they minted one of his
Oh,
cards when
yeah.
he was still playing the MLS, but he had actually retired. But I saw it go on the auction. I was like, I'm gonna win it. So I got his number one, and then I messaged him and I was like, I've got your
Nice.
like NFT on this game, and he understands a bit about NFTs, but he wasn't too familiar with the platform. And I was like, there's players on the platform and they have signed versions. I was like, I'd love to find out how I get like the signed version of this card. But apparently, he said it goes the other way around. The players have to get in touch with So Rare, then they mint a card which has their signature on it. I thought, oh, they might be able to burn a card and like remint it with their signature on it, which I think would be really cool because it. Could you imagine like if you had the utility of like
They
going
wouldn't
up to a
because,
player whose card you
listen to
have,
this.
and then them signing a like transaction or something that creates a signed version? Would be so cool.
What I was going to say is I got a player edition cards for a while. I had a Matteo Siachig rare, and he's like a rookie goalkeeper, and I wanted that because it was a signed rookie, and it's a goalkeeper, and you never know what happens with them sometimes.
Nice.
And it didn't have the rookie like emblems in the corner of the card at all. There was no rookie anything anywhere. And I said to Dan, I'd messaged Dan, and then he put me on to the help desk or something. I had to like fill in a form and like the kind of type form stuff, and they came back to me and all that. Because I said to them, listen, if I buy this, can I like send it to you, and then you can like just do it again or something. I don't know, and put the rookie thing on it, and they're like, nah, it's not the way it works. Once it's made, and that's the end of it, you know. And I'm like, really? Even if can I ask you and I send it to you? And they're like, nope, no chance. You know, so it would be cool,
Yeah,
but I
it's a
don't think
sort of
that's the way
thing
to do
with
it. I think it
outside
needs to
of
be. I think it needs to be minted as is. You know, I don't think I don't think you can alter it post mint, can you?
in other NFT platforms or NFT collections, like on sort of Ethereum chain. What some of them will do is they'll sort of create like a hidden sort of mint. So you buy a sort of access to it, and then it will sort of like unveil in a few days. And what you normally have to do is like refresh the metadata. So I'm not sure of the sort of like technical end of it too much, but I know that you can change metadata on an NFT. It might just be more down to the fact of the sort of like the contract that they've created for Sorare, which might mean that they can't change the picture of the file or like refresh it or something like that, which is a shame
Yeah.
because I've definitely got a few cards in my collection which should be rookies. What do you think the sort of like criteria is for a rookie? Because technically, in my head, it's like any player who is maybe like doing. I guess if it was just their first season on So Rare, it wouldn't make sense because then technically
It's first
you'd have a Tony
season like in
Cruz
senior
rookie,
football.
but it's his 17th season in Real Madrid or something like that. But that's what the rules state, right? So yeah, I've definitely got a few that are technically doing that, but I don't have rookie sort of bits on them. But
I know, but the
the
thing
rookie
with
bit's
that guy
nice
is
more for
he
like
every
you as
other
a
one of his.
collector, isn't it? Unless they become. Oh right, so it was literally just a mistake.
It's like every other one of his cards has like the rookie stuff all over it, except for the player edition one. I was like, oh come on, sorry, gonna just do it, and all that. No, it's just not the way it works. But I was like, come on, man, it's not as if there's like you're saying, it's not as
It
if I'm
can't,
asking them to do something that was unusual. It was actually the way the card looks anyway. Just
yeah.
but no dice.
On another note, um, I know like we you're probably similar to me in that like when baseball came on, it was like oh cool, but not really that interested in playing it or collecting it that much. NBA has been announced this week, and I think that's massive in terms of like, for me personally, like I don't really watch basketball, but I do find it a lot more watchable than baseball, and I do wonder if like this might tempt me in a bit more than baseball did. Um, Apart from a lot of the reading that I'm finding from people who play fantasy basketball, that you really need the top cards. So it might be one of those games where if you don't get like the LeBrons, the Steph Currys, the Jonjic, you're not going to compete. But I think that that's a massive, massive coup for So Rare to sign the NBA. What did you make of that news?
I think it's huge. My brother's actually a mad, like my brother. I put a tweet out, a picture of me and my brother, and like my brother, like the tweet says, like my brother knows football the way I know basketball, sort of thing. So I said to him about a year ago when I was talking about him, I was like, "Oh, I'm doing this fantasy football thing." I was like, "If they ever do a basketball one, I'm going to give you a nudge and I'm going to tell you." And he's like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And then, like when it got announced, I sent him a message and I was like, "Jordan, it's time." He knew right away what I was talking about. And he's kind of got a little bit of ETH already anyway. Like he kind of dabbles in a wee bit of crypto anyway, not too heavy. And I think he does quite okay now in his job and whatever. He does well enough for himself. And he's like, "I'm ready, brother. I'm ready. Just tell me when." So, but hopefully, I'll maybe do some videos with Jordan, my brother. That could
That's
be good
good.
fun. And I don't know how much. I'll maybe just ask him to
That'd
tell
be
me
good.
10
Yeah,
guys to buy, and then maybe just fuck about with it a bit. But that was as far as my mind went with it.
buy a little stack.
Yeah, Boston Celtics.
Yeah, I think it's a massive, massive sign. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Celtics. That's not a bad shout actually. But I think it's a big move. I think I'm excited to see how many sort of like new signups. I think some people made some good points about how obviously basketball's kind of been in the NFT space before a lot of other sports with that Top Shots and the success that had quite commercially and also like in a more of like a mainstream way. I think a lot of people that onboarded a lot of people into NFTs that didn't really know what they were or why. But I think that this is for me. anyone that bought Top Shots and got that is like, well, here's a kind of another way to collect memorabilia of the players you like, but you can also play them in a game and you can win. And that was something that I think that Top Shots missed quite a bit. They had this massive, massive momentum and they made some insane sales, but then what? You just got like this cool like image or video of a player you like. There's not a lot else you can do with it. And here we have something you can do with your NFTs, and it'll be really interesting to see how many of those people kind of migrate over from Top Shots and what effect that will have on the football side of things, because this is obviously going to open it up to a whole new market. And I think that's something that obviously everyone's always wondering, like, oh, how are we going to onboard new users all the time? And this is an opportunity. I think it opens a massive door, especially in the American market. But yeah, I think that I feel more excited about basketball than I did about baseball. I think baseball, from a sort of collectible perspective, is like, well, baseball cards have been like the classic collectible cards, but in the sort of NFT sport crossover, basketball was the beast, and the fact they're going to bring it over to the platform, hopefully, it opens eyes up. Who knows? Who knows?
I
Hopefully,
think you might.
add
I think
some
you're onto a
new
good point
liquidity
there.
to the market,
Like,
some
I
new
think
learnings.
for this whole kind of Web3 NFT space, like the Sorare has never been like the darling of the NFT community. It's always been punks, and then it was apes, and then it was Top Shot, and then it was apes again, and then it was punks again, and then it was kitties, and then it was something else. But Sorare's always been kind of ticking along in the background, and like the overall NFT space don't like give Sorare, in my opinion, from what I see on the interweb and social media and whatever, as much praise or credentials as they did to Top Shot when they hit big figures, or Bored Apes for whatever reason, or metaverses and Decentralands and whatever. So maybe getting that basketball crowd in is maybe also kind of helps you kind of endear yourself for whatever reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it's football or stroke soccer to them, and they've just never paid us any attention. But maybe you also then get a bit more of that kind of native community that have just always been kind of turned off to it because it's like, oh, it's football, it's not for me. And then you get that basketball. Baseball doesn't quite do it for everyone, but basketball probably does. So yeah, I think you're onto a really good point there in terms of just that,
Yeah.
that kind of that crossover being capitalized upon.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But I think I heard like Nicholas on like another podcast or on an interview. It might have been on Nellis's podcast. I think they were saying that they wanted to launch. I don't know if he said it was 2 new sports before the end of the year, or if it was 2 sports this year. So that would be baseball and then obviously basketball. But I guess like if they are trying to plan another sport before the end of the year, that almost feels inevitable to me that it will be American football, right? Especially with all the kind of like American investment and the New York office and stuff. It's like the next one surely is American football, if and when.
Apparently, it's like the
I
middle
know a
of the
lot of the
American football
football
season
game
now,
players
so the
will.
timing is just totally way off the now. Whereas basketball's just about to start, and I think the Americans
Ah,
just
okay.
started.
Oh, so they got time then for that one. Yeah, that sounds about right. So I guess it would be like one of those things where it's going to get a lot of people in the football community riled up, as it always seems to. As soon as like anything is announced that is not to do with like the reward pools or like gameplay or how long it takes them to get rewards out. Like last week, I was like
Brutal.
waiting for days almost. It felt like for those rewards. But it was a nice thing to open up at breakfast time in the end. I don't know. I think if you've got a smaller gallery, you're really waiting on those rewards to see if you've got something you can use for the next week. So I can totally understand why a lot of people were annoyed about it, and it is annoying. But also, I think I've been around the game long enough now to remember when rewards were pretty much instant and you could still use them in the next game week, because there was like a gap between rewards and the next game week opening. It's hard to even remember what that felt like, but I remember when rewards turned to the way they were, or game weeks closed and opened the way that they do. And
Yep.
there was an uproar because it was like, oh, we're not going to be able to use our rewards in the next game week though. And it's like, but it just meant that there was always a game week open. If I remember rightly, there used to be a window where it was a day or two of nothing, right? Is that what it was?
It was
Can you
because, like, I
remember?
think there was I think what the tipping point of that was is I think rewards were late or delayed or something, and then people were like, oh, I never got to use my rewards in my game week. Oh, da da da. And then I think a few other things happened, and then it's just like, well, listen, this is just the way it is, and then nobody's disappointed ever. Like you'd never expect to get rewards in your game week, so you're never going to get them. Like, and then no one's upset at any point.
Yeah.
I think, from memory.
I think it had something to do with a lot of the Asia fixtures as well, didn't it? Because it meant that when they closed the game week before at a certain time, it meant that some games fell outside the game week. So certain teams would go like 2 weeks without a game because they had kicked off at like 11 a.m. on the Monday or something, which meant that, you know, if the game week opened at 5 p.m. that day, then all of the games between like 11 and 5 that kicked off that day were just not in the fixtures. And that was what people were kicking off about. And I think that doing it this way meant that, yeah, it means you're not going to get your rewards in time to use them for the next game, but it means that every game will be in one of the game weeks. And I personally think that's worked out better. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I quite like
It
it.
just means that if
The
you've got
rewards
a
today were
card,
quite
you can
sharp.
use it every week, usually. They very rarely miss any. Yeah, I just noticed actually while we started recording, but mine, I didn't get any. I've got nothing to open. I got a bit of ETH,
Same.
which I take.
Just
I'm
a
always
tiny bit
happy
of
with a bit of ETH. So I think that was my. Yeah. Oh no, hold on. I have got a reward. Oh, should we open it
Ooh,
on the podcast?
go on.
So I've got a bit of
end
ETH and I've
product
got
Stishy
a.
boy.
It's a tier 3 limited. A tier 3
Oh,
limited.
what
Let's open
division?
it live. Do you want to try and guess it? It'd probably be hard if it's a tier
What
3.
the?
Right, here we go. It's a defender.
Oh,
I don't even know what that card. Oh look. Oh no, hold on. Okay, it's an Argentinian. I'm gonna put it up.
somebody for
You
Velez.
see that?
Nice.
It's not a
I
player.
can't see his name.
Leonardo
But
Jara. Leonardo
cool.
Jara. I mean, his scores are a bit not great, but he might be useful for an underdog or a challenger at some point. Or
Yeah, put him
he
in the
might
pile
get
with the
sold
rest
for
of them.
about £1 or something like. Exactly. And yeah, and a bit of ETH,
Yeah.
and I've got a common as well. Actually, let's see how. I've got a tier 1 common. My badges aren't showing up. Oh, I've got a goalkeeper. Oh, it's a Croatian keeper. Lovra Rogic.
Nice. Never heard him.
He'll be
But
useful for
Tom
sticking in
Rogic might be
the
signing for
underdog
West
and
Brom,
scoring a
by the
0
way.
for me. Lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Is he still a free agent?
Yeah. Still a free agent. In talks to sign with 17th placed West Brom. So, yay, that's going to be great. I've got 2 of them. Want to keep him, want to flip, I thought,
Oh,
but that's probably not going to work out too great. We'll see what happens. See, we said Rogic there. Sorry,
sell
that
the
popped into my
news.
head. No, well, I got a normal Rogic because I love Rogic anyway. Knowing he was going to leave Celtic, for kind of knowing he was probably going to leave Celtic, and then they done the Champion Edition ones, and I was like, well, if I'm going to keep a Rogic, I'd rather because the Champion Edition one went for fuck all anyway, So I was like, I'll buy the Champion one, and then I'll sell the Normie when he gets a transfer or whatever. And so now I'm waiting for get a score or something, bang an 80 one day, and then I'll sell him for like the same price I bought him for, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if ETH moves.
Yeah.
So, like, with all the sort of chat we've had about loss of fixtures, maybe the bubble's been burst on your game week a little bit. But what would you say is the team you're most excited about watching this weekend for the game week upcoming?
Definitely that underdog super rare is the one that jumps out the most, but my specialist limited is still in good nick. Just give me a second to pull it up. So I've still got Kostic, L15 under 40 qualified somehow. He's got 2 assists in 2 games in a row, which is nice. And then I've got Jorginho Rutter at Hoffenheim, still L15 under 40 qualified, paired with Kramaric, his strike partner. They've got a great game, so I've kind of got a wee partnership on the go there. And then I think, in defence, I've got Lampy in goals and Yaimar Gomez Andrade for Seattle as a defence. So I'm quite happy about the specialist team, but my specialist teams I'm always excited about. They never do well, so I don't know how excited to be. But otherwise, yeah, it's really about the underdog super rare, and I think underdog. There's about 4 underdog specialists this week between like specialist champion Euro and under 45s and all that kind of stuff. So kind of all my limited teams
Yeah.
have kind of got something going on that can be interesting, give or take. But yeah, that's the biggest one, because I think there's decent prizes in underdog super rare.
I think one of the main standouts for me, it's not even like I'm super excited about it as a lineup, but I've entered Asia Rare Pro this weekend with some quite good fixtures. Mostly for the reason that I hit up Led in the week and I was like, Led, can I have a look at how do I sort of like find out what the minimum score needed for like a tier 1, tier 2, tier 0 was in as many divisions as I can see. Like, how do I get that data? And he's like, I can pull that up for you. It's easy. He sent me over a little spreadsheet, and I thought, where is the sort of like lowest place to score like a tier 0, tier 1? And last weekend it was Asia, and I imagine this is because people aren't using Asia cards in Asia; they're using them in All Star and all of the like specialist modes that we've now got, right?
Sure.
And I think you only needed like 380 last week to get a tier 0. And I thought, I've got some quite good Asia cards, so a tier 0 Asia card would be really useful, I think, with my gallery. So I've gone back into Asia Rare Pro this week, and I haven't been in it for so long because I tend to use my high scoring Asia cards in U23 or All Star. And my team this week is Jo Hyunwoo in goal at Ulsan.
Nice.
Seol Yongwoo Super Rare, fullback, who's also at Ulsan, so I've got a little bit of a defensive stack there. Takuya Iwanami, super rare, centre back at Urawa Reds, one of the top scoring defenders in the game at the moment.
Nice.
I've gone for Shuto Abe, plays in midfield for
Hey,
Tokyo. They're playing Gamba. I think that's a pretty good fixture for him. And
I want
Cecilia
him as a
up
tier
top,
3 limited.
who, if he's fit, you won Shuto as a tier 3. It's a good. That's a good pull. I'll be happy with
he
that.
doesn't do anything below 50, does he?
Not really, no. Not really. And he does, he gets up into those high 80s occasionally with a little decisive or a goal. But the thing I find with him is he always scores 2 decisives in a game rather than like scoring them regularly. He'll have one game where he'll get like 2 or 3 decisives, and then he'll go like 3 months without getting another one. And then he'll do the same again. He'll get 2 in the same game. He's like, you just spread them out a little bit, it would be much nicer. But yeah, I'm
For
quite
sure, man.
excited. I love
Nice to see
watching
you.
the Asian football because it starts at a really nice time in the day. You can get up in the morning, turn it on online. You can watch the K League on their website for free. So if anyone didn't know that and you're interested, go on their K League TV and you can watch pretty much every K League game live. If you're in the UK, I know that it's free. So yeah, I'll probably be enjoying my breakfast on Saturday and Sunday, watching a bit of K League, seeing how the guys get on, and then in the J League,
We bit of Special
I'll be
K.
keeping an eye on that Gambus. Yeah, but yes, bit of Special K in the morning. Love that. That means different things depending on where. There's in my line of work, Special K means something else. I think you probably
I
know
can
about
imagine that
that,
being a
the
euphemism
Glaswegian
for something.
ravers in it.
It probably does up here as well, and I'm just dumb to it.
Yeah, I'm up your neck of the woods this week on a stag do as well. Like, I'm going to be about a 2-hour drive out of Glasgow, so I might, if I do find myself anywhere near the city anytime, I'll give you a shout.
Of
That'd be
course.
good to catch up.
Door's always open.
Hopefully you have your internet sorted out by then, and we'll be all right again.
Should be alright from tomorrow, I'm hoping, man.
So I think that just about wraps up the game week. Obviously, we've got a slightly lighter fixture schedule this weekend. But good luck to everyone out there. Hopefully we can all enjoy a bit of overseas football if you're listening from the UK. And hopefully get a bit of end product in. And myself, Quinny, and hopefully Tony will be back next week for another episode. Stay safe.
Take care.
Nice.